Yes, and I hope now all of you are able to see the slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you already know that the title of this course is Introduction to English Word Structure. And when we talk about English word structure, then we are talking about morphology. So morphology is again falls under linguistics. In the previous semester, we studied Introduction to English Sound System. So we already know how sounds they come together and they make a syllable. And then when we have different syllables, then we have morphemes and we have word. So here we will start with a very basic concept of morphology, and this basic concept of morphology starts with the definition. So we need to define what is morphology. Morphology is the study of the form. Morph, M-O-R-P-H. Morph means form. And logy, the meaning of logy is the scientific study of. So the scientific study of the form is actually morphology. So how we can define it? The study of the form, meaning relationships between lexical units and their arrangement in forming words. Now we will try to understand this definition. So we have a form and that form has some meaning. So we do not have meaningless form. Every form has some meaning, and that form is responsible for forming words, for making words. So we are dealing with those forms, those meaningful forms which are responsible for forming words. So as we know that what is the function of language, and most of the time when we use language, we use it as a tool, we use it as a vehicle for communicating ideas and feelings. So this is one definition that we have, and this is the functional definition of language that we have. So language is the vehicle for communicating ideas and feelings. And when we talk about like what is there in this vehicle is here a metaphor that we are using. In these in a vehicle we have different type of words. So we have like nouns, we have verbs, we have adjectives, we have adverbs. So these are content words. So words are also divided into two types: content words and functional words. And which are functional words? Preposition, functional word, right? Determiners, functional words. So we have both type of auxiliaries, they are functional words. So we have the the content word, and when I say content word, that means we can have an image of that particular word. For example, if I say an adjective beautiful, so you know what is beautiful, you know the concept of beautiful, you have this concept of beauty in your mind. But when I say the, the, but you do not have any concept of the in your mind. So this is the functional word. So when we say language is a vehicle for communicating ideas and feelings, then in this vehicle we have a fuel. And what is that fuel? What is that oil that we have? The oil of words that we have. So we have words, they function like a fuel. And once we have a fuel, once we have this oil, then our vehicle runs. So as we said that morphology falls under linguistics. So linguistics is like one umbrella term, and under that umbrella term we have different sub branches. In the last semester we studied phonology, English sound system. In this semester we will study English word structure. So we will try to define linguistics here again. The scientific study of language is linguistics. This is one standard one line definition. Linguistics studies the principles that govern the structure and use of a language. So again, we are talking about, we are dealing in linguistics those principles. And what type of principles? Those principles can be phonological principles. Those principles can be morphological principles. Those principles can be syntactic principles that govern the structure and use of a language. So those principles are important. So we have different principles, and based on those principles we can use language uniformly. So what is grammatical for one person is grammatical for all. What is ungrammatical for one person is ungrammatical for all. What is acceptable for one person is acceptable for all, and what is unacceptable for one person, that is unacceptable for all. That means all the competent speakers of a particular language, they form a speech community. And what is a speech community? That means there are certain principles, and those principles are inbuilt in the mind of all the speakers, and they follow when they use a language. So what is the role of words when we speak? So in forming expressions, language users employ the resources provided by the lexicon. We have used the metaphor vehicle. Language is a vehicle. And we have again used the metaphor of fuel and oil. So words, they are fuel and oil, and through which that vehicle runs smoothly. So these are the resources, and resources provided by the lexicon. Now this term is a technical term, lexicon. Now what is lexicon? For example, if I say the word happy, Happy. So when I say the word, when I utter the word happy, then you know so many things about happy. First thing, you know how it is pronounced. So that is one thing that is there. You also know how many letters are used to spell happy. You know 5 letters are there, Happy. That information is already there. You also know the grammatical category of this word. You know happy is an adjective. That information is also there. You also know the meaning of happy. That information is there as well. You also know how to use this word in some meaningful context. For example, what is meaningful context? We can say that John is happy because he has won the match. John is happy because he has won the match. So now you know that why someone is happy, because someone has achieved something. So that is quite in a context. So all such things, to know how a particular word is pronounced, to know how do you spell a particular word, to know the grammatical category of that particular word, to know how to use that particular word in a meaningful context, and to know the meaning of that particular word. All such things, all these 5 elements, they are the part of lexicon. So it is not only one thing, that is like you know the pronunciation of that particular word, but you do not know the meaning of that word. Then it will not be the part of lexicon. Lexicon means all these 5 conditions are met. And when all these 5 conditions are met, then it will be the part of your lexicon. And where do you locate this lexicon, and where do you locate this information? This information is in your head. This information is in your brain. So language users employ the resources provided by the lexicon. So likewise, happy, you have hundreds of words that are stored in your mind. So they are the part of your active lexicon. So the lexicon is a language stock of lexical expression. So what is lexical expressions? So we have lexicon, for example, happy. And what is lexical expressions? So the words that are related to happy, for example, unhappy, for example, happiness, for example, happily, unhappiness. So all such are lexical expressions which are associated with the word happy. So this is the difference between lexicon and the lexical expression. So there is a word like run, R-U-N, run. So run is your lexicon. And the lexical expressions, runs. When you say runs in the present simple. When you say ran, run, ran, run. Fine. So that is again the part of lexical expressions. When you say running, so that is again the part of lexical expression. So the lexicon is a language stock of lexical expressions. It is a language user's knowledge of vocabulary. It contains a set of lexical options which language users are free to choose from in describing their experiences. So you know, if you want to talk about past tense, then you will never use run. Simple past, you will say ran. So that form, you know, like if I need to tell the act of running in the past tense, then I need to use ran in simple past. So this information that you have, and you are free to choose. Then for that particular thing, like you have different options, lexical options, and you have this freedom to choose, but this freedom to choose is rule governed. So it's not the case that you are free to choose anything. It is not the case like if you want to describe a situation in simple past and you are using run, then this is not a possibility. It is rule governed. And what is rule governed? So there are certain rules that you need to follow in different languages particularly. So now what is the role of cognition in selecting words? So what is cognition? First of all, cognition is the mental faculty of acquiring knowledge by the use of intuition, perception, or reasoning. That is one thing. And how cognition plays an important role in selecting words. So any variation in choice reflects a distinction in meaning, which is processed by cognition. So you cognize some events, you cognize states of affair, and then you use your reasoning that which word will be more appropriate. Fine. So a word, let's say salary. Now salary is one word, SALARY, and you know someone who is an employee gets monthly salary. Now this is one word, but salary is also known as DOSH, DOSH, DOSH. Salary is also known as emolument. Now you have different choices for the same word, but you need to cognize that which word will be appropriate in which situation. For example, there is a word like smile. So if I say, why are you smiling? Then you can very easily understand what is the meaning. But there is another word like risible. Now risible is again an option, a substitute for smiling. So I can also say, what is the reason behind your risible? What is the reason behind your risible? That means I am simply saying, why are you smiling? Now, what is this thing? You have certain perception, you have certain intuition, certain reasoning, and based on that, you use the word. For example, I know a person like you, and if I say what is the reason behind your risible, because I am aware that your vocabulary is not uh, as rich as mine. And if I say this type of expression, what is the reason behind your risible, then there is the possibility that you will not understand. So what is more important? Important is to cognize the situation, the cognize and the use of intuition, perception, or reasoning. That is more important when you select an appropriate word. Sometimes this selection is also metaphorical. If I say, why are you lost? That means I am talking about a mental state that you are not paying attention and you look lost. So I say, why are you lost? But I can also say, why are you looking like an envelope without an address? So an envelope without an address is also lost, because think of a situation when you post an envelope without an address. Do you think that address will reach to the destination? Never. It will never happen. That means that envelope will never reach. And that state, metaphorically, I am saying that why are you lost? Why are you looking like an envelope without an address? So again, this is, I want to make my language more flowery. I want to make my language more metaphorical. I am using examples of envelope and address. And envelope and address, this concept is already there in the mind of the speakers of a particular language. So cognition is the mental faculty of acquiring language by the use of intuition, perception, or reasoning. And when you select a particular word, you keep all such things in your mind. Now the next term is lexical item. Lexicon we have already discussed. Lexicon is there in your head. And lexicon consists of, I repeat once again, lexicon consists of how a particular word is pronounced, how a particular word is spelled, what is the meaning of a particular word, what is the grammatical category of a particular word, how a particular word is used in a meaningful context. So these 5 things constitute a lexicon. But what is the lexical item? So a lexical item is an item of vocabulary which has semantic interpretation and embodies a distinct concept. So it may be a single word or a group of words. So we are here talking about an item of a vocabulary. So when I say vocabulary, then you think of list of words. So again, we are talking about one such word. And one such word has a semantic interpretation. That means it has some meaning associated with that. And that meaning embodies a distinct concept. That means it has some different concept than the other word. So we know that no two words are same. Two words can be similar, but they can't be same. So that's why we have a concept like synonymy. And we say that two words are synonymous. So this is the concept of lexical item, that a lexical item may be a single word or a group of words. So a group of words, but it has a semantic interpretation, then it is also a lexical item. And if it is a single word and it has some interpretation, then also it is a lexical item that you have. So what do we do in morphology? So previously we have seen one definition of morphology. Now we are just modifying our definition and we are including some other elements in that. So in morphology, exploring the internal structure of words. So how words are formed actually. So we try to look at the root of that particular word. What we look at now, for example, what you are looking at now in the piece of on the screen, the words, and we are not looking at the internal structure of words. They are the representation, the final representation of that word. So but when we look at the internal structure of words, then it is the study of morphology, which is the focus of the present explanation, is the task of morphology, the study of form meaning relationships between lexical units and their arrangement in forming words. So how lexical units, they play an important role in forming words. So lexical units, they come together and then they form the words that we have. So lexical word and morphology. As a lexical word, morphology consists of two parts. One is morph. So if we try to define morphology, and we say like what is the structure of morphology, morphology not as a discipline but morphology as a word. So we know that in morphology, morph is one such word, one such form that we have, and the meaning of morph is form, shape, and ology refers to study or scientific study. So as a linguistic term, morphology is the study of how words are built of form meaning units. So we have, like in morphology, we have these two units: form, that is represented by morph, and ology, that is study. So this is how we look at words. We try to find out like how that particular word is actually formed. uh, that is basically the study of morphology that we have. Then we have lexicology. So lexicology is investigating the use and meanings of words or word groups, is the subject matter of lexicology. So lexicology, we already know the scientific study, and lexi means the 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 study of the words, the study of the words, the study of the lexicon of a language. So what are the lexicons that are there in the language that we study here? So investigating the use and meanings of words or word groups is the subject matter of lexicology. So this is one thing that we have. For example, there is a word like companion. Now, this companion word means someone who is your partner, is your companion. But when we look at the origin of this word, when we look at the etymology of this word, then we find that this word has been derived from this Italian root com. Con means with. Con, and con becomes com here. So con and pain, P-A-N-E, pain means bread. So someone who eats bread with you, previously that person was considered as your companion, but now someone who is with you is considered as your companion. That is the etymology of that particular word. And in the study of the lexicon of a language, generally we do not go for the etymology, but you can also go for the etymology as well, and that is the part of historical linguistics as well. But generally in lexicology, you are more concerned about the study of the lexicon of a particular language. So what is the aim of morphology? So that we need to understand what is the aim, that why we are studying morphology, or what we are going to learn when we study morphology. So the aim, first one, is to pin down the principles for relating the form and meaning of morphological expressions. So pin down the principles. That means to state that how something is formed, and what type of meaning that is associated with that. And that form and meaning association is not random, but it is based on certain principle. For example, when we want to make plural in English, then we know generally the pluralization in English is like adding the letter S or ES or IES. That is the general understanding. For example, if I have fruit and I want to make it plural, then I will say fruits. And I have church and I want to make it plural, then I will say churches. Yes, fine. So this concept we have. So this is basically the principle. But again, there are certain exception to this principle. We have a word like child, and when we want to make it plural, we say children. To pin down the principles for relating the form and meaning of morphological expressions. So we need to find out that why child is not becoming childs like rest of the words that are there in English, or the majority of the words that are there in the English language, and why child is becoming children. That we will study. Or why fish remains fish and fish is not becoming fishes, or sheep remains sheep and sheep is not becoming sheeps. So these type of things we will study. And the second aim is to explain how the morphological units are integrated and the resulting formations interpreted. Fine. So how morphological units are integrated, that means how they are, how they have come together. We will see that we know that in a word like phonetics, we have a word like phonetics and we have a word like phonology as well. But we do not have a word like morphotics. We do not have a word like morphotics. We have a word like morphology only. So why is it so? So we will study that how morphological units are integrated and the resulting formations interpreted. So this cross question anyone can raise, that when we have phone and when we have phonetics, when we have phone we have phonology, then when we have morph, then why we do not have morphotics and we have only morphology. So morphology also provides or explains such type of things. It will show how morphological units are organized in the lexicon in terms of affinity or contrast. So affinity means closeness and contrast means how distinct or different they are. So that is also the aim of morphology that we have. Then we will study what is the concept of word. So we know word, and generally when we study vocabulary, we learn different words. We also know that words are available in a dictionary, that common sense knowledge that we have. So what is a word? A fundamental unit with which morphology is concerned is the word and its constituents. Constituents means parts. So we know that word sometimes is divided into its constituents, different parts. A word is a symbolic unit. Symbolic unit means that a tree is a tree, and uh, because of the convention, because of the agreement between the members of the society. So there is nothing in the sound tree that resembles like the image tree. So there is nothing between signifier and signified. There is no direct relationship between signifier and signified. The way we write a word, the way we pronounce a word, and the image or the concept of that particular word. So word is a symbolic unit. That means it is based on a symbol, a certain symbol we are simply using. So for example, pigeon, white pigeon is a symbol of peace. Now you can cross question like why white pigeon is a symbol of peace. Now, there is no fixed answer, because pigeon is like very docile, fine, weak, or like it is white, so it looks like it is soothing to the eyes, fine. It is not harmful, so that's why a pigeon becomes a symbol. So similarly, these words are also symbol. and these symbols, they represent something, so which is the combination of meaning and sound. So each word is a combination of meaning and sound. Meaning means concept, something that is associated with that, signified, and sound is your signifier. A word like car, for example, has two aspects which cannot be separated. So when I say car, then you hear the sound image, car, and the concept car. That means you think of a car. And now it is not the case that you are only thinking about Maruti Suzuki, you are only thinking about Honda City, you are thinking about any other car. But you can think of any other car, but you will think of car. It is not the case when I say car and you think of a truck, because truck is a different concept. So sound image and concept, these two things, and these two aspects are associated with a single word, a type of vehicle that we have. Words may be simple, composite, or compound. So this we will study, like which are the simple words, which are the composite or compound words, in the next class. And I stop here. And if you have any doubt related to the presentation or the today's class,